So guys, I know that you love podcasts. You're listening to one right now, but there's another one that I want you to check out, and it has really caught my attention. It's called Joculation. That's Joculation for those that are looking to type it out. So what this is, it features original comedy based off current events from some of the weird news sections like Toronto Sun, Daily Star, the LAD Bible, etc. This show has over 100 episodes, and it really is a must listen. And in their latest episode, they were talking about a woman who was threatening to burn down a pub at a Christmas event with Santa and his reindeer. She was an animal rights activist. You really got to check this out. Again, guys, it is hosted by LP Faust. It's called Joculation. And what I want to do is give you a quick 30-second sample of this show, and I'd really encourage you go and check it out. You can find them, by the way, everywhere podcasts are available, all the major platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, Overcast, Downcast, etc. So check it out. I'm also putting a link to the show in the description of this episode. So take a listen to this, guys. It's called Joculation. Go check it out, and here it is.
So apparently Martha Stewart, she now has come into a new television show because Martha needs money. At one point, Martha's walking around with a ruler measuring like forks and knives, the distance from like spoons and cups and soup bowls and all that stuff. I'd rather it be a tablescape, ladders, and chairs match. That's what I'm thinking, bro. Have somebody come into the ring with a foreign object, maybe take the steel chair and slap it across Martha Stewart's face. That would be excellent, okay? Tablescapes, ladders, and chairs match. Oh, my.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my idol. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, guys, welcome to the WWE the Monday Night Raw. I'm still thinking week review. It's the Monday Night Raw show here on the WWE podcast. I'm glad that you're able to join us, and I'm also glad that we have a new guest co-host for this episode of Monday Night Raw, and its review of Charlie Furman. We are here with him. He's a longtime listener to the show, patron of the show, a longtime wrestling fan. I'm really excited to have him all the way from Michigan. We've got Charlie Furman on in the co-host chair, and I'm glad to have him here. And Charlie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Matt. How are you? And it's from Wisconsin, not Michigan.
Wisconsin. Sorry. I was in the right area. Sorry, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're close.
Okay. Wisconsin. All right. All right. At least I had the same time zone. That's okay. All right. So from Wisconsin, we got Charlie Furman. And Charlie, before we get going, as I like to make sure that the audience gets to know you a little bit, how did you get into wrestling? Like, what are your first early memories of wrestling? What pulled you in?
I think my first early memories are kind of going to be the most unique ones you've ever heard. My dad has been this big wrestling fan ever since the territory days even. But he would tell me bedtime stories, but with a twist. He would tell me a couple biblical stories, but like one example, he would tell me he would always tell me the story of David and Goliath, but he would put a wrestling twist on it. He would say, "All right, Chuck, a long time ago, there was this man named Goliath, but everybody called him Andre. And all of the soldiers could not beat him for 15 years. But all of a sudden, there comes along this man named David, but everybody called him Hulk. And he used to live on a wonderful, tiny little beach in Venice." That kind of stuff. But I think my personal first memory was being in Montreal in 1997 for the Montreal Screwjob.
That was your first wrestling memory?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. You talk about one of the most influential moments in wrestling history. Oh, so at that age, I mean, I'm not sure how old you were at that time, but did you understand what was going on at the time?
I had no idea, but my dad was able to tell me what was going on. And funny thing is that we were a couple rows from where at the end of the match, Brett was doing the WCW logo writing. And I look at my dad, I go, he's not leaving, is he? He can't leave. He can't leave, Dad. What the hell? He can't leave.
How did your dad explain it to you? Did he know what was going on?
No, he didn't even know.
Wow.
He didn't even know that Vince was the boss of the company. He was like everybody else, where all he thought was just Vince was the commentator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it stood for a long time, and only wrestling insiders knew that Vince actually owned the company. And that's a time when kayfabe was still protected to some degree until obviously the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression and PG blew it wide open. But boy, I've never heard of anybody's first wrestling memory being in person live watching the Montreal Screwjob. Something that's still talked about today, 25 years later. It's amazing. So one last question, I guess, is do you have a favorite wrestling memory or match or two? It doesn't have to be one because it's hard to narrow it down. But when you look back, what are some of the moments or matches that you still watch today and you look at it and go, that is why I'm a wrestling fan?
Well, I only have one, and it may upset a lot of people. And if anybody's upset about this, I apologize about it right now. But the main person why I became a wrestling fan isn't anybody like my dad. He became a fan from Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. Of course, granted, he was around back then. I became a wrestling fan because of Chris Benoit.
Wow.
And I still like his in-ring stuff today. Still, outside the ring, not so much.
I'm glad you specified. Yes, I know that people don't like to still talk about it, but again, in-ring, if you looked solely at his in-ring career, in-ring, as you emphasized appropriately, it is an incredible career, he's an incredible technician. From a professional standpoint, totally agree. So that is not. It's only shameful if people look at it and go, "Well, you can't disconnect his personal from his professional." I think you can, because we're talking about the fantasy land, the fantasy world. We're not going into the real Chris Benoit and what happened, the tragedy there. But certainly, I would agree with that Chris Benoit, I could connect with him too on a professional on TV level. But all right, well, let's get into the Monday Night Raw. And one thing that, though, I want to ask you, because I said we would, or otherwise I'd forget. I have not heard this, but you let me know off the air that there's rumors floating around. Dave Meltzer and Wrestling Observer Radio, they are reporting that it's possible that Vince McMahon could return. I didn't read much into this. I'll have to do my own research. But do you have any other information other than Dave Meltzer said Vince could return? Is there any other detail you could provide?
As far as I know, because when my brother told me about this, I about damn near punched a hole in the wall and almost hurt my hand. But as far as I know, it wouldn't be to take, it wouldn't be for creative control or anything like that. It sounded like that it would just be to just come back on, to come back on either Raw or SmackDown and just say, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here, and that this is still my company-ish. And that I'm never going to go away anytime soon, and that I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame in 2023 in LA, which in my case wouldn't be a bad thing, seeing as how I'm going.
I have not heard that. And again, that's the first time I heard it was from you right before we came on the air. And if that's true, if they're bringing him back in any capacity, I don't care if it's in a non-managerial, non-influence creative role. I think it's a bad idea right now. Do I think there's a time that could come where he is, that society, quote unquote, or that the fans in general would accept him back without any kind of major pushback? I do. It's going to take time. It's still a little too fresh. I mean, Triple H has only been running things for less, 6 months or so. We haven't got a whole lot of time away from Vince yet to get, let time heal the wounds. So I don't think it's a good idea, even in a non-creative capacity, because it sends the message to fans. It sends the message to everyone that, yeah, we bring back these guys that, paid off women and, cheated on their wives and all that. It just sends a bad message. It's not a good look. I don't think it's a good idea. But again, I do think there will come a time where we turn on TV and we see Vince McMahon's face on WWE programming. Not in a, creative role, but some kind of cameo appearance or something like that, or Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and plus, after all, he is the one that created the WWF. Yeah, I don't call it the WWE, and I don't care if it's not PC or if people like it. But yeah, he gave me a lot of things from my childhood and even from my adulthood even, and I'm sure that actually, and I'm 100% betting that he did it all for us too.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Like, we look back and we're all here because of Vince. I'm here because of Vince. You're here because of Vince. And most of the fans listening are here because of Vince McMahon. So we can crap on his creative, which was really bad at times, especially towards the end. But the fact is that we're here because of him. And what he did in his personal life, obviously paying off, interns or whatever he was doing, sleeping with them to keep them mouths shut and, whatever. Certainly that does not excuse him. But at the same time, he did give us everything that we need and wanted and really needed to become lifelong wrestling fans, and here we are. So, all right, well, let's get to Monday Night Raw. And, there's a lot going on for it being such a quote-unquote quiet period in wrestling. I've been talking about that the last few weeks, where December is typically pretty quiet until we get into WrestleMania season in January. So what were when you look back at Raw from last night, what were your big takeaways from the show as a whole? Did you enjoy the show?
Oh, I absolutely enjoyed the show, but the thing that really disappointed me is that everybody was hearing all day that Brock Lesnar is going to be coming back. He will confront Bobby Lashley, and there won't be a number one contenders match. It'll just be instead a Seth versus Theory match for the title. And obviously then the end of the show happened and it didn't happen. And obviously the match happened. And once the match ended, everybody was still thinking, okay, Brock's going to come out, F5 Bobby a couple times, maybe give him a couple suplexes, and it'll set, and the groundwork will begin for their match at the Rumble. And unfortunately for a lot of us, and unfortunately for all of us, that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard reports of that as well, and I guess we know that match is going to happen. I mean, they each have now a victory in their column. This is the rubber match, if and when it happens. Part 3 and the final part should be Brock versus Lashley at the Rumble. And I still think that match is going to happen. Could both of them enter the Rumble? They could, but both are very unlikely to win the Rumble and would just be kind of filling in spots. I hate to say that about Brock and Bobby, but it doesn't make sense at this point. And so those two should be on a collision course for their final blow-off at Rumble. I would agree. It just, again, seems to me that they're just biding time for between now and Rumble, which is what, five weeks away, I think now.
5 weeks away. They also pointed it out last night with Riddle's injury, even though I come to find out that it's actually not, that they're actually giving him 5 weeks off, not for injury, as I'm doing air quotes here, but supposedly he failed a wellness or drugness test again for the second time, and now he has to go to rehab.
What? So is that, now if that's true, and I'll take that at face value, do you know if it happened after the planned injury by Solo Sikoa, or did they write him off TV because of a failed wellness test last week?
They wrote him off because of the Solo injury.
Okay, so because on SmackDown, we got an update from Cole saying that Riddle's going to be out for 6 weeks, which aligned at the time exactly with the Royal Rumble. So I'm wondering if that he will still make it in time to be a return entrant at the Royal Rumble.
I got a hunch that he will be in line for the Royal Rumble, and it'll eventually set up Randy and Riddle at WrestleMania. Please, dear God, let that happen.
Yeah, I thought the last 2 years I thought that could happen. Everyone's waiting for Randy to turn on him. Now, again, that is all assuming that Randy Orton comes back. I mean, Randy Orton, we've heard he's been gone since May. It's been 7 months. It's crazy. So, like, Randy Orton first has to come back from this ongoing, completely unstoppable injury, whatever he's got. It needs to heal itself, and then he needs to go into a program with Riddle, and I think that will happen. I would agree that if it's going to happen, this year is the time to make it happen. Riddle versus Orton.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, but getting into Raw, diving into the specifics of the show, I want to ask you right off the bat, because the first thing I'm thinking about is Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
And her continued, I guess, unstoppable control that Bray Wyatt now has on Alexa Bliss. She's not full back into that character that she was when she was with Bray, but it seems as if the story they're trying to tell is that there's a gravitational pull, like there's just something trying to drag her back into the darkness. We've seen hints of it over the last several weeks. Last night was the most, I think, just obvious statement that they are going to go with Alexa back with Bray at some point, with her attempting Sister Abigail on Bianca after she won her match against Bayley, and then stopping herself and going, I'm sorry, I don't know what was wrong with me. Are you enjoying this with Alexa Bliss? Do you want her back with Bray Wyatt in some capacity?
I do and I don't at the same time. I want her with Bray mainly because of the fact that she can finally start being on TV again full time because she needs to be. She needs to be showcased more than she needs to be showcased more on TV than what she is. Just Matt, I completely agree with you though. Do not bring her back with the with her playground gimmick. That just made me want to almost shoot my TV every week. Couldn't. I still can't stand it.
That's the one thing I don't want. I mean, I'm cool if they want to do some hybrid, some evolved version of the dark side of Alexa Bliss. I would hope that they're not stupid. Like the last time that she did this, it was great to begin with, and then boy, towards the end, fans were just done with it. And I would imagine that they're not going to go back to that version of Alexa sitting on a swing, spinning riddles every single week, but not wrestling. That is a bad idea. I want another dark version of her. Maybe she has this darkness inside that she's normal, but then you're waiting for her to snap in the middle of the match. She kind of did that with her last character, but to me, that's the best version of it is don't always make it so hokey all the time. Like make it where you can feel her trying to hold that darkness back. And maybe that's a story they're trying to tell. We'll have to see. But I mean, either way, she became more relevant this week than she has in several months. I mean, the last several months she's been almost invisible, just kind of being a sidekick to whoever the babyface team is. She hasn't done a whole lot. The fans haven't got a whole lot behind her. Just kind of like ho hum. And now you hear the reaction that the fans gave her when she attempted Sister Abigail and the look on her face. I mean,
oh my God, the pop it was one of the biggest pops of the night.
Yep. Yeah, it is
one of the biggest pops, and even me and my fiance were just like, oh my God, it's gonna, and like, oh my God, it's gonna actually happen. She's gonna do it on Bianca. Please do it on Bianca. Please, please, please. And unfortunately, she realized that, oh wait, crap. Nope. Not yet. Nope. What am I doing? Yeah,
it's an internal struggle. She has an internal struggle right now, and it's going to be playing out on TV, and I'm all for it. I mean, I was not a fan towards the end of Alexa not getting any in-ring time and just sitting on a swing for 2 years. Like, I was not a fan of that because she could have been Raw Women's Champion and dominating the division. Instead, they just had her playing, dress up and carrying around a haunted doll for 2 years, and I did not enjoy that. But if they have an in-ring version of this dark character, bring it on. I'm all for it. So, but the match with Bayley I thought was good. But again, that's forgotten and overshadowed by the Alexa and Bray Wyatt connection. So now, though, we get Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair. Did they say when that's going to happen? They weren't specific, right?
They weren't, but if I had to guess, and if they do it the way that they've done it with the and by the way, I refuse to call Gunther anything but Walter. Maybe they'll do it in like a couple of weeks, either that or maybe they'll save it for the first Raw of the year. If I had to guess, of next year, of January, if I had to guess. But yeah, but no, nothing. They didn't say anything.
Okay, so they're leaving it open. Maybe they'll figure out if they want to do it on Raw before Rumble, maybe at the Rumble. I think they're going to maybe give themselves a little flexibility. They didn't commit to a time in place, so that's fine with me. I want to make sure I didn't miss it. Okay, but now we get Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair, and I would argue that when this match happens, that if she has a connection with Bray Wyatt, that there's a chance now where she actually could dethrone Bianca Belair, where I thought this was going to be a throwaway. Alexa Bliss is just going to get back in the main event picture, but then get easily beaten by Bianca. I would argue that if Alexa Bliss is in a darker mode, that she might have a chance of dethroning Bianca. I don't think it's a great chance. I still think Bianca makes it to WrestleMania as champion, but do you think there's any chance Alexa Bliss, when this match happens, presumably at Rumble, that she wins?
If I have to go off of the crowd from last night, I'm going to say yes. Because when Bianca came out, it was quiet. It was utterly quiet. No reaction for Bianca at all, and especially when all she did was just sit down on a chair and not even do commentary, just watch the match. Oh, my God.
She's done that a lot. They've done that a lot with her. I don't know if they're afraid to put her on commentary for some reason. I don't know what it is.
I don't know why you wouldn't put her on commentary. I mean, she's great on the mic for crying out loud.
I know. I don't know, but they've done that. I can't tell you how many times, and I'm like, get her on there. Just ask her easy questions. Let her just, don't put her under pressure. Let her just talk to the fans at home, and they just don't do it. So I don't know what the deal is there. But all right, let's move on. Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley here, as you alluded to, for a number one contendership for the U.S. title. The winner faces Austin Theory. In this match, we had I think that Seth Rollins and Lashley work well together, and you forget how good they are together until they're together again, and you're like, wow, these two work so well together. They have great chemistry, physical as hell. The one spot I really enjoyed was Seth Rollins not being able to hit the stomp on Bobby because his upper body and neck were too strong for him to do it. I've never seen a reversal like that, so that was a cool spot. But we did get Seth Rollins getting the victory here, and then I guess maybe equally interesting story is Lashley accidentally, quote unquote, a lot of air quotes tonight, hitting a referee, elbowing him, and then shoving down Adam Pearce as Adam Pearce comes down to try to scald Lashley, and then he tells Lashley, "You're fired." What did you think of all of this? The match with Seth Rollins winning, and then the aftermath with Bobby Lashley getting fired.
The match was, holy rollades, was it? Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. I mean, the crowd was just half and half. The crowd. I mean, even me and even the person sitting behind me was cheering for both of them at the same time. But no, the firing, weirdly enough, as soon as everybody figured out that Bobby got, air quotes, fired, weirdly enough, a little kid started to cry. A child behind me was crying about it, which is like, oh my God, it's so cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. It's so cute that it's kid. He's not actually fired.
Mm-hmm.
He's not fired. He's not fired. Don't worry about it. And it turns out later today that Adam Pearce did a announcement on his Twitter for, Bobby's not fired. He's not really fired, guys.
Oh, so Adam Pearce went on. You mean in storyline he said he's not fired, or just because people actually thought he was fired that Adam Pearce went on Twitter?
People actually thought he was fired.
Oh my god. Well, that's actually a compliment to the acting. I mean, so like that to me is a good thing. But I mean, I honestly, I enjoyed this because now I don't know whether Bobby Lashley is a heel or babyface anymore. I really don't know. I mean, because he's kind of in between. It's kind of choose your own adventure with Bobby. Like I don't know what to think of him. I'm interested in what he's doing. He's a great wrestler, all that stuff. But I don't. It's character wise, I don't know what he is. He's just attacking officials now, and that's like fun to watch. I'm sorry, it's like a guilty pleasure of mine. That to me, that doesn't make him a bad guy. That makes him entertaining. Where he's just beating up everyday guys. It's kind of hilarious.
Oh, I love it.
So like,
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, if they think this is going to turn Bobby heel, like they got another thing coming. I mean, it's hilarious to watch Bobby Lashley, a monster of a man, a mutation of humanity, to just destroy like regular average Joes of referees and Adam Pearce. It's fun to watch. So I don't imagine that's the idea, is to turn him heel. Like what could this payoff be with Bobby? That, you know, okay, see, he's fired in storyline. Like what is the payoff here? Bobby Lashley versus Adam Pearce? Like what happens?
If I had to guess, and I think I'm like 25% sure I'm right. I think that this is going to lead to a Bobby versus Adam Pearce one-off match where Bobby is about to severely hurt Adam, and then all of a sudden Lesnar's music hits, and then Brock comes out to save Adam, and that leads into Bobby versus Lesnar Part 3 Royal Rumble inside Hell in a Cell.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that because now Hell in a Cell is no longer a part of the pay-per-view schedule. So it actually would feel more important if they bring out the Hell in a Cell for when it's worthy of it. And yeah, Lashley and Lesnar, the name value itself would sell that match. I would agree. And I think that's a great way to have Adam Pearce look vulnerable but have an ace up his sleeve of returning Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I like that. I think that works very well. All right, let's get to the next matchup here. And this was kind of uneventful, but still an okay match. AJ Styles versus Chad Gable. AJ Styles gets a victory as Chad Gable has completely forgotten how to win anything. Anything associated with the Alpha Academy and Chad Gable or Otis, I mean, they are the enhancement talent, in-house enhancement talent for WWE. So, but AJ Styles gets the victory over Chad Gable, hitting a Styles Clash. What did you think?
It breaks my heart that they have turned Alpha Academy into a laughing stock, because there's so much that you could easily do with Chad Gable. I mean, for crying out loud, he is just a little shorty. He's just a tiny little version of Kurt Angle. And Otis can do so, and Otis needs to do a lot more than what he is, other than be the jokester that he has been for a long time. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it was a good match. It was a very, very good match, I thought.
Yeah, it can't not be a good match. I mean, you have two professionals in there that are just pure wrestlers, and I love it. So yeah, AJ Styles defeats Chad Gable. I mean, it wasn't exactly the longest match in the world, but certainly I think that if it wasn't a cold match where they just threw these two together for no reason, I'd be more interested. But it's hard to get interested in this, given that there wasn't anything on the line. Okay, yeah. Speaking of something that didn't really have anything on the line, Io Sky takes on Candice LeRae and Candice LeRae loses to Io Sky after she gets hit with the moonsault. What did you think of Io Sky beating Candice LeRae?
To be honest, I really didn't even watch this match. I just went right up to the I just went right. I figured that as soon as I found out that this match was happening, okay, this is my Lunchable break. This is my merchandise break. Nobody will be there. And weirdly, so I go up to the merchandise stand, and they hardly had anything I mean, they had a Seth Rollins t-shirt, a Becky Lynch t-shirt, a Kevin Owens t-shirt. They had a couple Bray Wyatt things, but they didn't have any Judgment Day stuff. They didn't have any Bloodline stuff. I mean, I was like, I'm like, come on, guys, you gotta put at least a couple of your main guys, either from SmackDown or Raw, in your merchandise stand, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising. I mean, those are cash cows. I mean, how do they be making hand over fist money? I mean, like, I don't know. That is surprising. There must have been a reason for that. Maybe they just didn't have the supply, or so. I don't know. That is bizarre. Especially for a Monday Night Raw where they know it's usually a packed house. They're missing out a lot of money there, so there's got to be a reason. But yeah, that's also what I meant to ask you since you attended in person. What was it a sold out venue? I don't think it was sold out, right?
It was not. Okay.
And what was the demographic like? Families, guys, women, a mix.
It was a mix. It was a mix. I mean, where we were sitting though, it was mainly just families, which is perfectly okay with me because I love talking wrestling with children because it makes it more fun.
Oh, because they fully believe, like they're fully invested. It's like yeah.
Yeah, they are fully invested in it. But yeah, it was, which is surprising to me that it wasn't sold out, because I figured with a Triple H now in control of the product to a certain extent that more people would actually start coming.
Yeah, I mean that is true, but again, if this was full bore WrestleMania season, or the week after WrestleMania, the month before leading into WrestleMania, and you didn't have a sold out show, given all the star power, then I'd be concerned. But it's not surprising that it wasn't a completely sold out arena. But let me ask this: what would you say percentage wise that the arena was full?
I'd say about 75 to 80%.
Okay. Okay, so it wasn't like half full. I mean, it was like at least 3/4 is what you're saying. At least 3/4 of the seats were filled. That's good. And they can cover that up with tarps, or make it appear and do their manipulation of camera angles to make it look like a full arena. But okay, so that's not too concerning, given that it is the slow season and it's not WrestleMania season yet. And got it. Okay. So, all right, well, I'll ask her a lot more stuff as we go along, but since this match is not something you saw and you were busy getting merchandise that wasn't there, I'll move on to another women's match, Rhea Ripley taking on Asuka. Did you see this one?
You're listening to the WWE Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
So, guys, I know that you love podcasts. You're listening to one right now. But there's another one that I want you to check out, and it has really caught my attention. It's called Joculation. That's Joculation, for those that are looking to type it out. So what this is, it features original comedy based off current events from some of the weird news sections, like Toronto Sun, Daily Star, the LAD Bible, etc. This show has over 100 episodes, and it really is a must listen. And in their latest episode, they were talking about a woman who was threatening to burn down a pub at a Christmas event with Santa and his reindeer. She was an animal rights activist. You really got to check this out. Again, guys, it is hosted by LP Faust. It's called Joculation. And what I want to do is give you a quick 30-second sample of this show, and I'd really encourage you go and check it out. You can find them, by the way, everywhere podcasts are available, all the major platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, Overcast, Downcast, etc. So check it out. I'm also putting a link to the show in the description of this episode. So take a listen to this, guys. It's called Joculation. Go check it out, and here it is.
So apparently Martha Stewart, she now has come into a new television show because Martha needs money. At one point, Martha's walking around with a ruler measuring like forks and knives, the distance from like spoons and cups and soup bowls and all that stuff. I'd rather it be a tablescape, ladders, and chairs match. That's what I'm thinking, bro. Have somebody come into the ring with a foreign object, maybe take the steel chair and slap it across Martha Stewart's face. That would be excellent, okay? Tablescapes, ladders, and chairs match. Oh, my.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
Oh, absolutely I did. Absolutely I did. I tried never. I mean, even at home, as soon as I find out that Rhea Ripley is going to be competing, I don't care what I'm doing. I will stop what I'm doing and watch it.
Yeah, she's must see right now. I agree.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. So, did you notice too? Maybe being that I'm assuming you didn't have front row, but she did not have Asuka. That is, she seemed. I look at her and I'm like, what is different? And it's the fact that she didn't have the makeup on her face nearly as, I guess,
much as she normally does. Yeah.
The tears, the green tears or whatever she has coming down. She was much more natural looking. I'm like, wow, I like this better.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as she took off the mat, her little toy mask, I'm like, oh my God, she's back to her NXT face.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is she gonna go on another? Oh my God, she's going back to her roots ish.
Yeah, we're like thinking, oh, is another streak gonna start? No, she loses.
Yeah, and then she loses. Like, okay, never mind.
But it makes sense. Rhea Ripley is hot right now. She might be the hottest woman. I don't know about in the WWE as a whole, but she's one of the hottest women in the company. Probably the biggest star in Judgment Day at the very least. And she's doing an excellent job of playing the kind of creepy, quote unquote, mommy to Dominic that they also described as a romantic relationship. So it's kind of a weird thing they got going on there, but I'm all for it. But Rhea Ripley beats Asuka here. And she hits Riptide. Asuka also sprayed Dominic with the blue mist, and that's when Rhea hit Riptide on Asuka. So as far as the match goes, did you enjoy the match itself?
Oh, I loved the match, but I think the thing that I loved most about it was when Asuka hit the blue mist on Dom. The entire building went nuts. The building went nuts. It was, of course, granted, Dom is just so much heel heat on him. You could easily just set up a match on him and watch him burn.
That's my next question is the heat in person as intense as it comes across on TV for Dominic? Did people really hate Dominic?
Yes. So much so that where we were sitting, every time Dom set one foot in the ring, I could hear about 5, maybe 10 guys starting to chant. I'm like, guys, there's kids around here. Save that for the Raw after Mania.
Right, yeah, those chants are reserved for, yeah, exactly, yeah. That kind of stuff, you got to be careful. I mean, again, people go there and say, well, I bought a ticket, I can say anything I want. It's like, well, yeah, you can, but
to a certain extent.
Yeah, use your head, right? Yeah. So okay, so that is then confirmed that indeed we have a Dominic there's true hatred out there for Dominic, and I like that. I'm glad that it's consistent from city to city that people just despise him, and yet they continue to win. And Dominic here, while he got sprayed in the face, did it for the sacrifice of his mommy, Rhea Ripley getting the victory. So, all right, let's get to the Judgment Day, then also taking on the Street Profits and Akira Tozawa. And Dominic, again, gets the victory, pinning Tozawa. This happened when Damian Priest took advantage of a distracted referee, hit a crucifix bomb on Mysterio to get the pin, or to allow Mysterio to get the pin. So we get a Dominic victory. But I think even beyond that, which is just they continue to build heat for this group and specifically Dom, is the really breakout performance for Akira Tozawa. I mean, I don't know how you felt in person, but like this match was, I think, better than most people anticipated it was going to be.
Yeah, when I found out that this match was happening, I went with very, very about the lowest of low expectations that you can possibly have. Only because I found out that, oh yeah, Akira Tozawa's in it. Yay! Everybody was, yay! This is going to be a snooze fest. This is going to be a snooze fest. And Tozawa was a lot better than anybody, including myself, than I anticipated.
He surprised me because a lot of times, if you only watch the Hulu version, I do, a lot of people do. Akira Tozawa is barely, you don't see him that much unless you hunt out everything that was cut out from the Hulu version, because he's often the forgotten kind of wrestler on the show. And I think this was a breakout performance for Akira Tozawa. I think it was a necessary performance for him, tagging with the Street Profits and taking on Judgment Day. He's the biggest thing I remember from that match is Akira Tozawa, and I don't ever really talk about him because he's barely relevant. So, but the Judgment Day gets the victory, even though Akira Tozawa lost. He kind of won in the loss, and I think that is so important.
Yeah, and one more thing I will say. When Priest pretty much plowed over, I believe it was Montez into the announcers table, over the announcers table. Mm-hmm. Everybody thought he was hurt, really, really bad, because from what we could all see on replays, it looked like the back of his head hit either the barricade or the hit either the barricade or I think it was Braxton's chair or whatever the other guy or whoever the newer guy is that'll do commentary now, but it looked really, really bad.
I saw it, and they kept replaying it like you saw, and I was watching for the same thing because Montez Ford took a bigger bump than I think was necessary, and I watched it. I'm like, whoa, and he clearly oversold it a little bit, and I was concerned for his safety as well. And luckily, nothing happened that we know of, and he looked like he was okay. But boy, that was a nasty, really unnecessarily unsafe way to take that bump. But all's well that ends well. He didn't get hurt, and that's the most important thing. But this match, I think, might have been arguably the match of the night. So, all right, moving on. We got a ladder match between Dexter Lumis and The Miz set for next week. And what do you think about all this?
Oh my God! I will say about this, when we got into the arena, my fiance wanted to go immediately go take a look at the merchandise stand, and the one that we went to, we noticed that there was security all around. I'm like, was there a fight that happened already? Place just opened 5 minutes ago. What the heck? And there is all kinds of WWE security yelling at us, "Hey, put your phones away! Put your phones away! We are doing a shoot here. We are doing something here. We are doing something." We were at the merchandise stand I can't talk now. For where Lumis and Johnny were buying all of the merchandise, which was like, wait, what? Are we going to be on TV? Are we going to be on TV? What? Charlie, are we going to be on TV? I don't know, maybe. But otherwise, this is unfortunate that Johnny is being a part of this, because Johnny deserves so much more. And Miz just deserves to be the Miz. Miz can just go off any bad program he wants to, for all I care.
I don't know what to make of this. I was hoping this was over, a few weeks ago when they had their match, and we had Lumis win his contract, even though how do you have a match and be featured on WWE TV for several months without a contract? It's hilarious. But Dexter Lumis won, and I'm like, all right, this is over. And now it's not. Now we had Miz agree to a Double or Nothing ladder match for next match on Raw on Monday night for next week. And I'm like, whatever, fine. Like, I would imagine this is where they're buying time. This is where they are just trying to get to the next show to eat time till Royal Rumble. This is what I'm feeling is filler, extending a program that doesn't need to be extended. But I agree with you. I've said that from the beginning. Johnny Gargano is coming across like kind of a little narc, like kind of this truth, moral, like this holier than thou moral compass that, he's trying to expose everybody, and like he's just, no, Miz, you're lying, and he's doing all this. I don't like the way Johnny Gargano is being produced right now. This is not the best use of him, I would agree, but let's hope next week is the finale.
Yeah, one can only hope. But another thing I will say real quick is a lot of us were actually trying to figure out that, okay, if the Miz is here, as soon as we see him, we all got to start chanting, tiny balls, tiny balls, tiny balls. And then as soon as he, said, oh yeah, Maurice gives me an allowance every week, all the time. She's the one that controls my money. She gives me an allowance. After he said that, the entire arena just started chanting tiny balls, tiny balls. It was just everybody around us was just like, yeah, we started it. Yes, we got it going. Yay!
Yeah, that was every time you go to a wrestling event, people want to be able to be the first ones to start a chant so then they can take credit for it getting on TV. But more often than not, we have failed chants. I mean, you don't hear about the ones that fail miserably all over the arena the whole show, where people try to start stuff and people are just sitting in their seats looking and we're like, yeah, we're not participating in that. But I'm glad that you guys in that section were able to take credit for that chant starting. And look, I mean, this is going to be over. It's not the destination for Dexter Lumis and The Miz, as you said. I mean, I really don't care what he does next. To me, it's just all the same. But all right, let's get to Solo Sikoa taking on Elias. But before we get to that, though, the setup for this was kind of hilarious with Kevin Owens backstage. When he was asked by Elias if he was going to be in his corner, and KO went off on him saying, basically, you put me through hell over the last several months. You think I'm just going to forget about that? You think I'm just going to forget that you guys drove me crazy? And like not answering Elias if he's going to be there. I really enjoyed this. And then Elias coming out and had the rolled paper, and people love that, implying obviously that Riddle's, he loves the cannabis. We all get the joke. But what did you think about the promo? Before we get to Solo Sikoa and Elias itself, did you guys enjoy the promo while you were sitting in the arena?
The KO promo, to be honest, not really, because we could easily see it coming as soon as Elias was, yeah, I really want you out in my corner tonight. I really want you out there. I need your, my brother injured, sure, my brother beat you over the back with a guitar, but the bloodline took out my brother, I need help. And it's like, oh, okay, so you need help. Big deal, Elias. But no, the mute. And then what happened next, everybody was just a lot. I can't speak for everybody around me, but I was just rolling my eyes, going, okay, we get it. Riddle is a, air quote here, pothead. Mm-hmm. We get it. It's old. Move on.
I don't know how many times they're going to keep going back to this. I mean, they're killing it dead. I mean, the first couple times it's like, oh, okay, kind of funny. Like they're playing on what the fans believe he is and what he actually is. He likes the cannabis, he likes the pot. Fine, whatever, we don't care. But now I think they're overdoing it. But I will give him that. It was clever that he had a paper rolled up. When I looked at it, I'm like, whoa, what is that? And he unrolled it, and it was actually lyrics. Okay, I'm like, that's clever. Fine. And it seemed to elicit a reaction from the crowd, so like fine. But Elias actually got to sing a song. I mean, every time Elias comes out, nearly before he even gets to the first sentence of his song, he gets interrupted. So it was nice to hear something from Elias beyond getting interrupted immediately. Of course, Solo Sikoa does come out, and he takes on Elias, and he does beat Elias, as he should. Owens did come out to ward off the attack where he was about to do what we saw last week with Riddle, and now Solo Sikoa gets a stunner, and so does Elias from Kevin Owens. So what did you think about all this?
I will say that it was nice again to see Solo I still can't talk. To see Solo bring back the I forget what it's called that Umaga used to do with
the small spike.
Yes, thank you. That this is not just going to be a one-time thing. That they may actually put this in his moveset. At least to take out people. But no, when KO came out, everybody started to get a little bit yay, and then he hit the first stunner on Solo, and it was like a medium yay, and then he hit the stunner on Elias, and major pop.
Yeah, the stunner is hard to boo. I mean, it's such a fun move. It's so difficult to boo. So I enjoyed this, and it made sense he stunned Elias as well for everything that he's put him through over the last several months. I don't have any problem with that. To me, it wasn't a signal that Kevin Owens is turning heel or anything. It was just kind of a well-deserved stunner for Elias, and also saving him at the same time. So, Solo getting a stunner made sense. I think Kevin Owens is in this for the long haul with the bloodline until, of course, really when WrestleMania season ramps up and we see whoever Roman Reigns' true opponent is. Because I think Kevin Owens is going to stick around up until that person arrives. Maybe it's Bray, maybe it's The Rock. Of course, so much speculation. So overall, I thought this made sense. I like this segment. It moved things forward. So any final thoughts on this before we continue?
I kind of have a funny feeling I know where they're going to go with Roman, and I'm hoping that this happens. Supposedly that there have been talks that it is going to be Roman and KO at the Rumble, and I think I came up with a good way to have the event go, or to have I still can't talk, to have The Rock come out without him competing in the Rumble. And I think that you will agree with me on this. So the match happens, Roman wins. He holds up both titles like always, whenever to just create that one image, and fireworks go off. He grabs a microphone and says, "Okay, now there really is nobody left. I am the head of the table, the tribal chief. No one can tell me otherwise." Bing! Rock's music hit. Place goes bonkers. Plays to the crowd a little bit. Takes one look at Roman, runs down to the ring, holds out his hand to congratulate him on the win. Roman takes his hand. Rock gives him a rock bottom. Rock looks down at him and just points at the WrestleMania sign.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's exactly how this should play out. The whole, because the rest of the world, don't worry guys, we're gonna have 465 times of people pointing to the WrestleMania sign over the next 6 months or 3 months. But yeah, The Rock should be the first one to do it. We're gonna have. I think the way to set it up that's a great way to do it. It keeps The Rock out of the Rumble. He shouldn't be in the title picture, but if he's with Roman, maybe he is in the Universal title picture, because there's talk of Roman Reigns doing double duty, defending the WWE on night 1 and the Universal on night 2. How they split those belts, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. So I love that. It's a perfect way to get to Rock Roman. To me, if it doesn't happen this year, I don't think it happens at all. I really don't think. I mean, it's in Hollywood. It's essentially the city that The Rock is the king of in Hollywood. You've got Roman at his hottest. You've got The Rock, who is not going to get any younger by the time he gets to next year. To me, it's now or never. I just hope they do it this year, because if it doesn't happen this year, I think that the chances go down drastically that The Rock and Roman happen.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely they do. But say The Rock isn't able to compete against Roman. What about Rock and Austin Part 4?
I thought about that. I think I even brought it up a few weeks ago, because Austin looks like he's getting into ring shape. I mean, he is posting stuff all the time about working out and diet. Like, he even looks thinner. He looks much thinner than he did at WrestleMania 38, when he didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for his match with Kevin, which is why he kept his shirt on, because I would too if I didn't feel like I looked the way I should, in front of millions of people. But the fact is that, to me, I don't think it's likely, because they right now have one of the best 3 matches in WrestleMania history. I don't think they'd want to try to live up to that expectation of when they were 20 years younger, to try to put that on now. Would I be interested? Yeah, but I'd also be kind of concerned that it could be a total disaster, given that the matches were so good. Not every one of them was a 5-star, but they were generally so good that you would be setting yourself up for failure, I think.
I can see that. I can definitely agree with that, but I'm just trying to figure out, okay, do they have a plan B for The Rock if he's, why not just have why not have The Rock, air quote here, host Mania again? I'm trying to think of ways that he would be able to be involved.
I think they'd rather have it be a surprise. I mean, you're saying, he hosts WrestleMania.
Yes.
But I mean, maybe. But we've seen that before, and and I think isn't that when he had a match with Eric Rowan that lasted like 3 seconds? And or was that different?
No, that was 27. Right? That was Mania 27 to pretty much start pimping Rock and Cena, twice in a lifetime, as I call it now.
Oh, that's right. They said it was once in a lifetime, and then it happened again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love marketing. All right. Well, let's get back to Raw. We've only got one or two things left to talk about here. And they did a nice package for the tribute to the troops. I mean, that was a nice 20th anniversary tribute to the troops package, because they brought it all the way back to 2003. I mean, it was that was just crazy to look at, and I've never some of the footage in that video package I've never seen. And that was cool to see, Stone Cold, 20 years younger, and Kurt Angle was there, and Eddie Guerrero was there, and it was nice to see, that kind of that footage again that I hadn't seen, and some I have, but I thought it was a nice tribute, a nice video package to remind us how long this has been going on. It seemed like the crowd, when they came back off of that package and they got back to live, that the crowd was generally pretty positive to it. I mean, again, you're not seeing anything in ring, but did you feel anything any sort of way for this video package?
The crowd after the video, the crowd was extremely excited. Weirdly enough, excited about it. The entire, you could hear USA chants going on throughout the building. It was a very, very nice package, and I didn't even realize that it's been 20 years already. Yeah. That it's almost been 20 years already. God, I'm old.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I'm like, that's the year I graduated high school, so that dates myself. But I'm like, damn. Yeah, that was really cool to see. I mean, it's crazy how quickly things go. And back then, the Iraq War and all that, and 9/11 was just so fresh in our minds and all that. So it's pretty crazy. But I mean, outside of that, I guess I'll ask: were there any dark matches? What happened after the show went off the air? And now, I'm trying to look and see. I don't see any reports. But what happened when the Raw went off the air?
They told us to go home. I was expecting there to be a dark match of some form, whether it be Bianca against someone or Theory against somebody. Nope, they just said, okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you for coming to Raw. Get home safe.
They basically just kick you out. They're like, yeah, take your jacket and leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. That's unusual.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Was everyone standing there like, what? Like, really?
Yeah.
So a lot
Yeah,
did a
and we
lot
were
of
like,
people
wait,
hang
wait.
back? Yeah.
Yeah. And we were like, no, they're kidding. No, they're not really going to kick us out. No, there is supposed to be like one dark match. Maybe they are going to announce it here within 5 minutes. Silence. Okay, 10 minutes. Silence. All of a sudden, we look behind and then we have like 2 ushers coming down to like, okay, guys, gotta go. Like, wait.
Wow.
Like, wait.
They couldn't even have done like Kevin Owens versus somebody. Send him hit a stunner on somebody, get a 1, 2, 3. Like that's
It's just
yeah.
like I don't know if it's because Triple H doesn't like doing, doesn't want to do dark matches but this is the first Raw that I've ever been to, and I've been going to Raws for, weirdly enough, my first Raw was McMahon 316, but every Raw that I've been to, there has always been at least one dark match.
Yeah, me too.
And now there's nothing? What?
There's got to be a reason for that. I mean, Triple H is fan service centered. There's got to be some kind of legit reason other than just screw these guys. Like there's got to be something logical. Maybe they just couldn't put. I don't want to say they couldn't put anything together because all you have to do is throw 2 people out there and say, hey, have a 5-minute match, let the babyface win, hit your finish a few times, and good night. I mean, like that's usually what happens. All right. Well, that's a bit disappointing, especially if you're in person, that you don't get that bonus that the people at home don't get. So that there was no dark match. But okay, well, outside of that, I guess my question is: was there anything that maybe that you saw in person or the in-person experience brought to you that maybe the fans at home didn't see or that you wanted to comment on?
A good portion of the time when it was the Judgment Day and Street Profits match, when it was during commercial, and of course, granted, a lot of us could easily tell by just looking up off of the Jumbotron, you could start hearing chances of going, "We want mommy, we want mommy, we want mommy," every couple of seconds, and we're just like, yeah, let her come in, please. Let her do something, please. She has been doing it so many times, and of course, because God forbid the men retaliate, but no, that's not PC, everybody. We have to make it as we have to make it as realistic as possible where the men cannot defend themselves.
Which actually is like the complete opposite of trying to emulate reality, because the fact is, like, if anybody's attacking you, you're not just going to look at them and go, wait a minute. Before you kick me in the face, are you a man or a woman? Because if you're a woman, do whatever you want, okay, like all the time. But if you're a man, that's not how the real world works. But the perception of society today, people would be up in arms, even though it's a fantasy environment. And I think it's ridiculous that you just have to cower to whatever the woman wants to do to you. You just have to stand there. It's a bunch of nonsense, and it makes the men look weak. I know why they don't do it, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I've been going back and actually looking at a couple of matches from a couple of years ago, and I think the last time that I saw a guy or a man actually attack a woman in the ring was when correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Extreme Rules. God, what year was it? A couple of years ago when Corbin hit Becky with the hit Becky with the end of days, and the entire arena just started booing. Of course, granted, that's because it's Corbin, and Becky was extremely fire at the time, was extremely even more fire than what she is now.
That's right, because it was Corbin and Lacey Evans versus Rollins and Becky. I think it was a tag team match.
Yeah,
I think yeah. So I do remember that. I think the most recent from my memory is when Randy Orton hit Nia Jax with an RKO.
Yes.
In the Rumble a few years ago.
Yes, I forgot about that one too. Same year, just months apart.
That I loved that. I mean, that was great. Now, how she could actually compete in a men's Royal Rumble, that I'll never know. How she could just take someone's spot in a men's Royal Rumble. I mean, do the reverse. Like, all you have to do is just flip the script, and all of a sudden people will be up in arms. Wait a minute, a man is taking a woman's spot in the Rumble, but it's okay for a woman to do it. Again, this is like 3 or 4 years ago, but still. So that's the last time I remember a woman being attacked, especially unprovoked. Or maybe you look at Beth Phoenix being attacked by Randy Orton when Edge and Randy Orton were feuding, and Edge hit an RKO, or rather Randy hit an RKO on Beth.
I forgot about that one too.
Yeah, so Randy seems to have this like get out of jail free card with the RKO because it's so over. I mean, I don't know. But the RKO is just I miss the RKO. I gotta say.
Oh, I do too. Or as my dad will he will always just say, Charlie, that's not an RKO. That's a diamond cutter, and you know it.
Yeah, the feud and the battle and all that continues. I mean, there is a difference to me. Like, Diamond Dallas Page set up a diamond cutter much differently than Randy Orton did. It is a little bit different mechanic wise, a little bit. Yeah. We're splitting hairs, but if you watch the delivery of a diamond cutter and you watch the delivery of an RKO, they are different. Cool. Well, Charlie, is there anything else, regardless of Raw or whatever, that you wanted to touch on? It, something that happened at Raw or something I missed or whatever, I guess, before we close things out.
Not really. I mean, I will say that, and this is not WWE related, but this is baseball related, and I think you will appreciate this. Maybe not. You're a Yankees fan, right?
Yeah.
Do you realize you guys extremely overpaid for Judge? The Yankees just did an Albert Pujols move.
Except Albert Pujols was a lot older, and they didn't have a championship caliber team. So, like, here's the thing with these large contracts. In years 6, 7, and 8, and 9 that it's gonna be an albatross. Like, it's gonna just weigh on the payroll at that point in the career. But you're really paying for years 1 through 5. And you're hoping that you can get 1 or 2 championships out of it. And if you do, maybe in years 6, 7, 8, and 9, when he's just, a 40-year-old broken down shell of himself, which is what's probably going to happen, that you're going, well, he did bring us 2 championships. That's maybe what you're going for. But yeah, the Albert Pujols contract, the Robinson Cano contract in Seattle. You can look at the Alex Rodriguez, as I said, like that one was awful. The 10-year, $300 million, whatever it was, the New York Yankees signed him to. That was awful. But that you're going into it with probably only half of the contract really carrying its weight of performance. So
yeah,
I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least your team. Yeah, but at least your team is actually competitive. Try being a Brewers fan like me, where we're not. Where we have the 8th richest owner in the league, even though he just got updated to 5th, and we have nothing. Mm-hmm. We have absolutely nobody. We have Christian Yelich. Yeah, he's 30. Yeah, and he has now screwed us over with his major contract extension, which is exactly what I said he would do. And now Hader's gone. Burns is going to be out the door here in a couple years. Adames is going to be the same way. We are a minor league team. We are a profession. We are the. I'm trying to think of another crappy team. We are like Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. We are a laughing stock.
Yeah. Being a Brewers fan is tough right now. I mean, I had to look this up because I didn't know the last time you guys won was 1982. That was the last time that the Milwaukee Brewers, actually won a World Series. Now, you're not too far behind.
We did not win it in 82.
Well, it says, hold on, according to 2 sources, the oldest team, hold on, the situation is, They took on you lost to the Cardinals. So you went to the World Series in 1982. So you at least had a pennant. I mean,
we did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we do.
So there's that.
I mean, and Milwaukee has not won a World Series in baseball in the city since the Milwaukee Braves of '57 against, weirdly enough, your Yankees.
Oh wow. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, it's just different. The thing is, when you look at big market teams, the Brewers are not a big market team.
No, we are not. Far from it.
So unless you could do what the Tampa Bay Rays are doing and take a team that doesn't have a huge payroll and make the most out of it, somehow they're able to do it, with whether it's just bringing up people from the farm system, homegrown people, bringing in a manager that is like, one of the all-time greats. If you're bringing, like, I don't know, Terry Francona or whoever, that's how you do it, but it's not easy to do. I mean, your farm system is your best bet to not spend big and have a great team, but it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, Houston is making it look so easy.
Houston. To me, as a Yankees fan, Houston is more hated than the Boston Red Sox for us now.
Oh, dude, as a Red Sox fan as well, that kind of makes me happy a little bit.
Well, the Red Sox, I mean, there's just a professional rivalry there. It did get personal in the mid-2000s and the whole A-Rod thing and Aaron Boone and that home run. That was fun. But, the thing is that when you have a team that actually cheated and they admit they cheated and they possibly cheated the Yankees out of a World Series in 2017, there's some bad blood there. Like, that's actually cheating. That's not, hey, you're just the better team. Like, you cheated.
And granted, Yankee fans have a lot more reason to hate Houston, but we hate them down there too, or not down there. We hate them up here too. Of course, granted, we hate all cheaters. I mean, we even hate Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah. Anytime there's any cheating going on in any sports, it just discredits the sport. It's a disrespect to the sport. It instantly turns a heel. I mean, if you're looking for a heel, like the Houston Astros are the heel of baseball. I mean, outside of the Houston fans and the Houston city, they still cheer for that team. But outside of that, like, they are the ultimate heel in any city that they go to, especially New York. It's been a tough few years. I mean, we lost to them in the ALCS in 17, in 19, and in 22 now. And they swept us this year, which made it even worse. And we're celebrating on Yankee Stadium, winning their pennant, it was embarrassing. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to opening day so we can erase this and get back to baseball. But cool. Anything else?
No, not that I can think of anymore. I mean, I had to bring up the fact that a couple months ago, I actually brought up to you about the fact that I don't like big market teams. And of course, by big market teams, I mean teams that spend a lot of money, like Houston, New York's, LA. I mean, even a lot of other, hell, even St. Louis does it. And the only reason I mainly hate it is because we're Milwaukee. We don't do that.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I'm not saying it's jealousy, but it's frustration as a fan that your team doesn't spend that money, so you're never going to get a big player. Like, you know that, outside of just a homegrown guy coming up and becoming a megastar, you won't be able to keep him either, by the way, because you're not going to pay big money. You're not going to be able to keep him. You know that you're just going to get mid-tier trades, and you hope you just kind of are able to patchwork a team together that gets it to be a playoff team. And that's got to be frustrating as hell, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We haven't even had of course, granted, the last homegrown megastar we had was Ryan Braun, and, well, we all know how well that turned out, and hell, he still isn't even liked in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, which is yay.
Yeah, it's tough. But, hey, you guys, I bet you didn't think you'd hear some MLB talk on the show. I bet you we really don't often talk about any other sports because it's WWE, but sure, it's a crossover audience. More often than not, you find NFL fans or MLB fans that watch WWE or vice versa. So, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. And Charlie, thank you for coming on tonight. I'm glad you were able to attend in person and that you had it sounds like generally a good time. Even if the merch didn't live up to your expectations, they didn't have the merch you wanted, it's really weird. But overall, I'm glad that you were able to come on, and we'll have to do this again.
Oh, definitely. Say WrestleMania season, because I just picked up my tickets for Mania both nights, and then the SmackDown afterwards, or the SmackDown the day before, and the Raw afterwards.
Oh wow! You so you're getting the full WrestleMania experience.
Oh yes.
Wow. And you're going to have a hell of a lot to talk about this year because with The Rock potentially facing Roman, Stone Cold coming back for another match against whoever, John Cena coming back December 30th to face somebody at WrestleMania, you're going to have a star-studded lineup at WrestleMania. This is going to be a fun one, so I'm jealous.
Oh yeah. Me and my dad started booking that. We wanted to go last year. But then we found out, it's Mania 39 will be in LA, and we're like, Dad, which one do we go to? We got to pick one. He's like, well, it's in Hollywood. That's the Rock's area. Rock is like Jesus there. If the Rock doesn't show up, there's something wrong. Let's go to Hollywood.
Yeah, no, so it's so cool that you have your dad, though, because not a lot of people have another friend or especially a family member or a father to go with to be able to attend and experience with. So that's really cool. I'm jealous, and I hope you enjoy yourself. But, yeah, we'll have to reconnect in what's going to be a crazy WrestleMania season that's going to start in just a few weeks. Just, guys, let's get through December, and then I'm telling you it's going to be fifth gear from then on out. So, Charlie, thanks so much for coming on, and we will talk soon. So, guys, I know that you love podcasts. You're listening to one right now. But there's another one that I want you to check out, and it has really caught my attention. It's called Joculation. That's Joculation for those that are looking to type it out. So what this is, it features original comedy based off current events from some of the weird news sections like Toronto Sun, Daily Star, the LAD Bible, etc. This show has over 100 episodes, and it really is a must listen. And in their latest episode, they were talking about a woman who was threatening to burn down a pub at a Christmas event with Santa and his reindeer. She was an animal rights activist. You really got to check this out. Again, guys, it is hosted by LP Faust. It's called Joculation. And what I want to do is give you a quick 30-second sample of this show, and I'd really encourage you go and check it out. You can find them, by the way, everywhere podcasts are available, all the major platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, Overcast, Downcast, etc. So check it out. I'm also putting a link to the show in the description of this episode. So take a listen to this, guys. It's called Joculation. Go check it out, and here it is.
So apparently Martha Stewart, she now has come into a new television show because Martha needs money. At one point, Martha's walking around with a ruler measuring like forks and knives and the distance from like spoons and cups and soup bowls and all that stuff. I'd rather it be a tablescape, ladders, and chairs match. That's what I'm thinking, bro. Have somebody come into the ring with a foreign object, maybe take the steel chair and slap it across Martha Stewart's face. That would be excellent, okay? Tablescapes, ladders, and chairs match. Oh, my.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.